Glad to have you back at the Manifested e-learning platform. Today we continue with the subject corporate governance and ethics. Our attention today is drawn to the codes of corporate governance. The codes of corporate governance. Codes of corporate governance. Now, in Kenya, codes of corporate governance are formal sets of principles, guidelines, and best practices that publicly listed companies and other organizations adopt to ensure effective and ethical management. And while not strictly internal corporate documents, codes of corporate governance are often referenced internally to guide decision making and behavior. In this lesson, we are going to identify some of the key codes of corporate governance in Kenya. The first one being the CMA. The Capital Market Authority has a code of corporate governance for publicly listed companies, what we call the CMA Code of Corporate Governance, CMA Code of Corporate Governance for publicly listed companies. The Capital Markets Authority Code of Corporate Governance for publicly listed companies. This is the primary code governing listed companies in Kenya. It covers broad composition, the responsibilities, the risk management, internal controls, financial reporting, stakeholder relations, and so on. You understand? Then in Kenya, we also have the Code of Governance for State Corporations. Code of Governance for State Corporations. Code of Governance for State Corporations. This code applies to state-owned enterprises and addresses similar themes of the CMA Code of Corporate Governance for publicly listed companies. All right? The themes are the same. And these are financial reporting, internal controls, risk management, stakeholder relations, the board composition, and so on. The Code of Governance for State Corporations. And this code emphasizes the importance of accountability and transparency in the public sector. You understand? Another code applicable in Kenya is the Institute of Certified Public Secretaries Code of Corporate Governance. Institute of Certified Public Secretaries Code of Corporate Governance. The Institute of Certified Public Secretaries of Kenya Code of Corporate Governance. Now, this code provides guidance for company secretaries and other governance professionals on the best practices in corporate governance. You understand? And you recall, candidates, at the beginning of this subject, we outlined the key principles the key principles. We outline the key principles of corporate governance. The first one being fairness, transparency, accountability, fairness, accountability, transparency, responsibility, integrity, and so on. All right? The key principles of corporate governance. Fairness means treating everyone equally, treating all stakeholders equally, and also protecting minority shareholder rights. Transparency, we said, refers to the providing timely and accurate information to shareholders and the stakeholders. Accountability, we said, means holding directors and management accountable for their actions and decisions. And responsibility is acting in the best interests of the company and its stakeholders. Fairness, accountability, transparency, and responsibility. Now, let us outline the benefits of adopting a codes of corporate governance. Benefits. Benefits of adopting codes of corporate governance. The first obvious benefit is that the codes provide a framework for ethical and responsible decision making. Number one, improved decision making. Adopting codes of corporate governance improves decision making. Two, enhances investor confidence. Adopting codes of corporate governance enhances investor confidence. Strong corporate governance practices attract investors, improves a company's reputation. Also reduces risk of fraud. Risk of fraud. Adopting codes of corporate governance reduces risks of fraud and corruption because clear guidelines and ethical standards help mitigate the risk of unethical behavior and financial misconduct. It may also lead to stronger stakeholder relations. Stakeholder relations. Adopting codes of corporate governance increases chances of stronger stakeholder relations. They promote open communication and engagement with shareholders, employees, customers, and other stakeholders. 5. Improved financial performance. It improves financial performance. Adopting codes of corporate governance improves financial performance of a company. Studies have shown a positive correlation between good corporate governance and improved financial performance. So these are 5 benefits of adopting codes of corporate governance. Now, companies in Kenya are expected to adopt and adhere to the relevant codes of corporate governance. And while compliance is not mandatory for private companies, many choose to adopt a code to enhance their governance practices. And it's important for companies to tailor the code to their specific circumstances and to their specific industries, ensuring that it is practical and effective. And there should be regular reviews and updates of the code, which are essential to keep pace with the evolving best practices and regulatory requirements. And by implementing and adhering to a code of corporate governance, companies in Kenya and elsewhere can demonstrate their commitment to ethical and responsible business practices, which can then lead to a long-term success and sustainability. With that, we'll close the lesson where we've studied codes of corporate governance. We identified 3 codes that are applicable in Kenya, one for the publicly listed companies, the other one for the state corporations. We've also cited the Institute of Certified Public Secretaries of Kenya Code of Corporate Governance that helps the company secretaries in their work as company secretaries. And these are not the only codes. We have many codes, international codes, which I implore you to familiarize with, so that you are well conversant with various principles and practices in good corporate governance. Here is your today's assignment on codes of corporate governance. 1. What are the key principles of corporate governance highlighted in various codes? 2. How does a code of corporate governance ensure transparency in organizations' operations? 3. What are the guidelines for board composition and diversity as per Code of Corporate Governance? 4. How does a code address the issue of executive compensation and performance evaluation? 5. What mechanisms does the Code of Corporate Governance suggest for stakeholder engagement? Thank you. Bye.